It's a new year and a new you, so today I want to show you guys why you should change your binds in Fortnite, like I have at the start of the year, to now go from absolutely awful at Fortnite to now a pretty damn good play on my new binds. So I'm going to show you why these binds are optimal and actually show you a visual representation of what they look like on my keyboard to help give you a bit of an aid to what these actually look like and what fingers are used to press them. So if you're thinking that this is just a keyboard video, this is about keyboard and mouse players, well, this is also good to apply to other players as well, because if you guys are still feeling like you're on unoptimal binds, there's still ways to change your binds right now and just power through and trying to get yourself into a better player for 2021. Now, before we get into the video, I want to remind you guys to use code Ripire in the items shop, RIPIRE. That does help go towards the channel, as I am an Epic Games affiliate, so that you do buy, a small percentage of that will go towards me and help make more of these videos. Now, starting off, what did I change? Now, instead of doing a gradual change, one little bind at a time, I decided to go a complete opposite direction and go all my binds that I wanted changing straight away. So the first thing I did was a really big thing, taking my sprint off shift. Shift has been my go-to sprint button for every game I've ever played on keyboard and mouse, so it was a huge change, one that I'm still not 100% sure with ever since I changed it, really, because I still sometimes at the start of the match will press shift to go forward, but I've actually instead used sprint by default as a setting to remedy that problem. So what is shift now it's not my sprint bind? Well, like many other pros such as Mongrel and Booger, I've now changed it to cone. Now the reason for this is so that I can pull out my cone bind without actually taking my hands off my full movement. So I have full 360, well, not really full 360, it is keyboard and mouse thereof, but I have full movement while actually pressing out the cone button, just by using my pinky instead of taking it off my ring finger. So that allows me now to pull out my cone and place a cone in someone's box while shifting left and right and going backwards and forwards. So that does help me out a lot more. Now, the other big change was actually changing my shotgun button. So my shotgun is always on slot 2, or slot 1 really, it's the first slot in your inventory. Now, I used to have this on number 2 so I could easily reach it with my middle finger. The only problem with that being I'm taking off my middle finger from W to press it. That means I can't go forward while doing it, so it said every time I would jump then change, which meant that I was jumping copiously amounts and just unneededly so, almost out of control. This is then therefore an absolutely atrocious way to play, because I'm just jumping randomly trying to change weapons. I can't shoot people because I just haven't got my gun out because I'm then jumping. So what I've changed it to instead is backslash. This is right next to shift on the UK layout. Now, I know for some American viewers this might be a bit weird because our layouts are different to yours, so maybe get a UK keyboard if you want to be good at games. But I didn't say that. Maybe you should just sort out your keyboards and yeah. Anyway, that's a different topic for another day. Anyway, it's now backslash, which means I can use my pinky to press my shotgun button instead of my middle finger, so I can pull out my shotgun while strafing left and right, similar to the reason I use my cone as shift. I can now use backslash for my shotgun. So those are the binds I've changed, and it might not seem like I've changed a lot, but trust me, after you've played for months, maybe even years on those binds, and you go into game with the new ones, it feels so alien, so horrible, so awful. You're changing to the wrong button, you're dying because you've clicked your shotgun button, or what used to be your shotgun button, and instead just thrown a mini at them or something. It's just absolutely horrible, really aggravating. So I'm going to show you the best way to get used to new binds, and it's really quick, guys, it really is. So I'm going to put some basic timestamps on this video with the back roll, the B-roll you're seeing now, and you can see how far in on my progress I am when you've seen these clips. But I'm going to say it probably took about 8 hours of gameplay for me to get properly used to my new binds, to get comfortable with them, a bit more to get fully aware with them and get semi-competitive with them again. So that might seem like a lot of time, but that's not in one day. That's across multiple days. So if you did do it in one day, it's probably not advised because your brain's taking in so much it won't be able to just concentrate that. It's better to do maybe 2 or 3 hours of this and then move on to the next day to then do it more and just eventually build up the amount that you do each day. So the way I got used to these binds is really simple. First, I went into a creative free build and I just practiced for about 15 minutes in there, just trying to get my head around all these weird things and just trying to get used to that. And this might seem a bit weird, but I just stood there practicing just switching between buttons. So just standing there, switching to my shotgun without looking at the keyboard, switching to my shotgun, and switching back to my minis, and going from my minis to my shotgun, and then my shotgun to my AR, then my AR to my minis, then my AR to the bandage, and bandage to the... You get what I mean. I was practicing switching without looking, just switching and switching, getting used to where the keys and what fingers I used to press those buttons. So I had a really bad habit at first, using this finger here, the ring finger, to press backslash, which is a really bad habit, because the whole reason I changed onto backslash is so that I didn't have to use any movement buttons, or any movement fingers even, sorry. So I was then having to force myself to use pinky instead, which is a bit of a challenge because my pinky's not very strong like most people's, so there's a bit of a challenge to quickly try and maneuver that to press both shift and backslash and control. But once I had a general feel for how it was in creative, I then went into creative again, but this time went into the play section instead of the create, and went into a random field lobby and just went into whatever they were playing, anything respawn, and just started to mess around with there with infinite materials, building, shooting them. And this is where I actually getting really good at shooting, because I was so unreliant on my editing and building, and everything felt so horrible. My aim actually became very good, and I was just shooting them really easily and just taking them out, even though I wasn't building much. So that's what you see at these introductory clips. So after that, I then stupidly went into solos, which is not what I'd recommend to do, because I got killed a lot and it was very demotivating. Instead, I'd recommend going to Team Rumble, which is what I did afterwards, and I was then able to practice while killing people and gaining XP. I was able to actually practice my builds in a more comfortable respawn environment, which is what I'd recommend for you guys to do before going into solos or duos or squads even. But after a couple hours on Team Rumble, I was feeling pretty confident with my new binds, so I decided to go into some squads with some friends. Now, it's important to play with friends or people that you can talk to, just so they know you're on new binds and aren't so harsh on you and expect you to do a lot more than you're capable of at the time. So I was able to get a lot of free respawns because they understood I was on new binds. It was a bit awkward for me to play. But when I got more comfortable in real games, it wasn't just Team Rumble, I then eventually went into solos and played a bit of that, and it was a lot better the second time around. I then eventually went into competitive solos arena and still found success. So this is where I'm at now, and I'm going to say that I'm pretty confident in my new binds. It's still not 100% second nature yet, but it's definitely getting there. So that's how I started on new binds in the new year, and I wish you guys the best of luck trying to do this yourself. It's very intense and very demotivating at the start, and you want to think of the big picture, because right now you might find better success with your current binds, but you got to think a year from now when I'm still playing this game, because realistically, if you're watching this video, you've most likely played Fortnite for at least a year, and you're probably going to play it for another year. So think long term, think the pain I put in now will be a lot worth it down the line when I'm better then. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and a comment saying so. That's this video, guys. Peace.